Okay. Policymaking process in America, tying it all together. This is the question 7 for the government exam. And to really analyze the policymaking process in America, you have to really start about what kind of form of government we formed into, and it kind of like depends on what government government forms into, really, because if you have a democracy, you basically have like the voice in what you want to really be like applied, and if you want a certain policy to be like taken into effect, or your policies or your like own like ideas, you're able to talk to your congressman, you're able to talk to your representative and your government about it, and eventually if it's a strong like reason to be, they will consider it, and it'll eventually become something that is part of American government and part of the American culture. While as if you have a dictatorship or like an absolute monarchy or some kind of form of government like that, you really don't have a say in what you need, and it really can be just kind of one day be like, hey, I want, hypothetically, it's like I want you to give me $1 every day, and you have no say in what you can say, and if you disagree with it, it's just kind of like you just get punished even harder than what you need, and it really just kind of like, and it separates in itself to what government you have, and then it separates into like what system of government you have really like in place in that government, which like we start like with a federal or a unitary or a confederal, like it really depends on how you like the government can communicate with one another, and that a strong government should have, and a strong government that is able to like us, like the federal system, that we can both communicate with each system. And it really started off through that we had a strong democracy, and we based it off that, and we didn't want one single person fighting in a sense like that about it, like controlling everything we do. We had like a separate, now we have a separate system. We have the federal system in it that we can just really contact our own government and be able to express our feelings about what we need them to do and what policies we feel like can be made through. It basically all goes through us. And with that, again, our federal system is like, yeah, the states and the federal government both talk to each other, and they both like basically keep each other in check. And then through that, you still we evolved from that. We went into a strong system of laws that we had, and that's really the Constitution is another thing that we have, and that's the second unit that I'm going to use here. And it really takes like a strong set of laws for like an actual country to form. And for us, we had to go through a bunch of trials through debating and fighting about what was right and what was wrong. And through that, we had the Articles of Confederation come up, which was a really weak document that really gave too much power to the states and not enough to the federal government. So it was really overbalanced on one side instead of the other. And really, how we approached it was like, we felt like the states needed more power than the federal government, and it didn't work out that way. And it kind of like, it set a way where like the states could like grow more power to the point where they kind of like exceeds the federal government, which that should never happen. They had no way of really checking themselves. And so the Constitution really was like the thing that really set us apart from everyone else, that we had this like strong set of laws that can't be surpassed, that it's higher of all others, that it basically separates the roles of our own government in itself, like into the three different things we have today, the three separate branches. It really sets like what we have to do and what we need to do to be a strong society. And it really just, the fact that nothing is higher than it, it really like solidifies that we have to stay set to this, and we can't like break this law. And if it's something like strong to the American like culture, or like not culture, to the American government, in the sense that it's important to have, that we can't really like break away from it. And that way, like if it's a policy like that, you really like, it's another policy of like the American like government. And in that government, you really also have the three branches that have that really set everything in motion of like how things should be set. And I'm using the last unit we learned for it, like the three branches, and in itself how the policies are made through them also like show how far we've come, that we have three branches that can really like are set on the thing they need to be set on. They can really come, like the legislative branch kind of makes all the laws, well, not kind of, they make all the laws, and that they come from us, they come from like the representatives, and they kind of like slowly build more and more from that, and they kind of get like a sponsor, they get people to support the bill, and the bill will go to, if it's passed on the House of Representatives, it goes to the Senate, and then from the Senate it would go to the President, and then the President is the head of the executive branch, which also connects them kind of together, in the sense where they all are a part of the process of making that, of like making our process of making like our government more like strong and more like and keep growing. And the president has the power to kind of like check them by saying, no, hey, veto, send this back and work on this bill some more, or pass it, and it's able to really like just kind of keep everything in check and really make sure no like laws are like passed without being really like checked over more than once. And then through that, it would go then to the judicial branch really to like make sure the laws are like kept fair, make sure the laws are like not surpassing the Constitution, to keep everyone in check. And in itself, it's also checked because like they're really separate from everything. They can't really take up like part in like the decisions of the laws, but they can make sure like they aren't too like broken up and unfair to the people and to the Constitution. And it just connects all together because it really just like it all set from one thing to another, and from each process that they made, it set a new like standard and a new way to do it, and a new way create a new way to do that. We're doing it now, like it from the government we chose into the government, the way we run our government, the way we are like the laws we set from our government, and then to the way we process everything and how we make like laws and how we make sure we keep the American like government and our government in general just keep growing and growing, and it keeps everyone balanced and checked. And really it's all just different from each other, as in the sense that they are two different like there are three different like scenarios for each thing, because one could alter another one entirely, and then one it's always changing. It's never been the same, in the sense like you had one way of doing something that got changed entirely. So they're not really like a line, it's more like a little squiggle that's going through everything that just kind of separates everything from each other. That's it.